Hey guys, it's Gaslight, the H is silent, and today we're going to look at the developer update. Now, I'm going to only highlight some of the main things. So, the first thing is the going next prevention. Basically, the whole sum of it is that they implemented a system to where we can identify if the survivor is trying to skip their current game just to load into the next as fast as possible. The way they do this is once they realize the survivor is intentionally doing this, they will start getting penalty points. They also remove the option to self-unhook on the first hook stage unless they have one of the following perks equipped, which are Slippery Meat, the Ante, or a Luck Offering. The thing is, I feel like the Luck Offering part can still make it to where they can just bring that with the intention of doing this. But the PTB is tomorrow, so hopefully we can see how all that works in game. The next important thing is the hiding update. Basically, they just update the AFK system. So before you would start gaining crows 1 to 3. But now, once a survivor has three crows, they will basically lose collision with all other players, rather than, like still possibly body blocking something. And here's another thing. It's kind of minor, but it also is really, really nice. And it's bulk blood point spending. So basically, you can decide how many levels you want to go, and if you have enough blood points, it'll automatically spend them for you, so you can reach that level. So this is really nice. And one thing I noticed not a lot of people were saying is how this could possibly help queue times. It won't be anything crazy, but you have to think some people would save up till the max blood points and then just do a spending spree sitting in lobby before they play games. Now they can just do this and hop right into their next game. So the Mori update is more of a quality of life update. Basically, you know how you can Mori the last survivor? Well, sometimes you would have to wait for the second to last survivor that was still on hook, that just was still struggling, and you just had to wait until they finally died. Now, basically, if the other survivor is on hook and they are in the struggle phase, you can Mori the survivor on the ground if you're the last one. Now, these ones, even though they say they're medium updates, are actually pretty impactful. So map offerings basically are no longer a guarantee going to that map. They no longer stack as well, and they'll be kept as a secret while loading in, which in my opinion is kind of but I mean it doesn't, hurt you in any way, so I feel like it's fine. Um, but like if it's like a 25% chance, I think that's pretty good. Puts them in a healthy place because it goes up your chance to go to them, but you can't like guarantee that you'll visit that map. So for spawn rules, what they did was basically survivors are going to spawn together and on the same floor. So you won't have half the team on the bottom floor and half the team on the top floor. For example, like maps like the game or Midwich. And speaking of Midwich, on small maps, the killer will no longer spawn in the center of them. So on Midwich, if you had all your survivors, all together in one corner, or, in the old days, before this update goes live, you'll have everyone like kind of doing their own thing. The killer could start chase really, really easy and immediately put pressure on the survivors. This kind of gives the survivors just a little bit longer of a breathing room, and I feel like this is a good change overall. Now, the Shroud of Separation change, honestly, to me, feels a little broken. Basically, they changed the name to the Shroud of Vanishing. The effect is now that it nullifies offerings to change survivor spawn locations. So rather than just bring a blood point offering when you have nothing to bring, players can bring that and necessarily like ruin some plans survivors have just because like that I don't know, that offering seems like really strong to me. I feel like it needs to be looked at or like put a limit on how many survivors can spawn together rather than just saying they're all straight. To me, that sounds they'll all be on their own somewhere else possibly. Now the Shroud of Binding is going to be now the new Shroud of Separation, and its effects are going to spawn survivors apart from one another. So like I was just saying, how the other ones just basically, oh, they all will, it sounds like they'll all be, away from each other. There's no limits. The new Shroud of Separation just sounds like survivors are just not going to like be right next to each other. So I feel like it's like a weaker version in a way, but we'll have to see how it is just because right now it's not the most in-depth thing that they gave us. And it's not exactly, we don't have like anything to actually see on how this works. Tomorrow's a PTB, like I've been saying many times. We'll see that in gameplay. Now, this is the most important update to me. And now there is a gamma setting. So console players, yeah, oh my God, it's so nice. There are some maps to where I can't even see in hallways. So this is just a huge, huge help to me. Just because on PC you had options and you could change settings to make it easier. Console, you were stuck with whatever you had pretty much. So those are all the settings. The highest one, oh my God, that's so nice. The lowest one, that's like I said, unless someone's like, messing around, I don't see anyone using that. I like the little slider, it's really nice. But so now some custom matchmaking improvements. This is really just to help, like, if you're doing your own tournament, spectating custom games. So the custom game spectator amount is now 5. There's hotkeys to switch specifically to characters and cycle through, use one by one. And now there's just controller support for the above improvements. Color updates. So the artist update, very, very in-depth. They told us they adjusted a bunch of add-ons. That's it. That's all they told us. So we'll have to see tomorrow what those are. But from what it sounds like is all her strong add-ons got nerfed, all her weak add-ons got buffed and slightly changed. Now, the Lich or Vecna has a ton of changes. I think they're all good. So all his spells are going to be available at the start of the trial, which is really nice. The cooldown's going to be less. The Dispelling Spear quickly moves quickly when first cast and slows down over time. The Killer Instinct duration when survivors exit the spear is going to be increased. But his fly is kind of getting a weird nerf and chase. Basically, his fly is going to have a longer attack cooldown. So once you fly, you can't like attack as fast as you could before. Now it's going to be a bit longer. But to counteract this, they made it the duration and movement a lot faster. So Mage Hand is also just getting fixed. It was a bug to where sometimes you could, hold up a pallet and all of a sudden a survivor could immediately put it down and all the timings were different. So a lot of players who really liked Weakness sometimes wouldn't play him just because it felt like they were gambling on his power. So that just helps them a lot. Personally, I haven't played Vecna, so I haven't experienced it. Almost everyone who stopped playing Vecna, it was because of that reason. Um, Magic items, when casting associated spells, have their effects increased. And then also he had a bunch of add-ons change. So overall, this is a lot of quality of life, a lot of buffs. It's not really any nerfs, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how he'll act in the PTB. So now, perk updates. Basically, all these perks are going to be buffed in a way because they have a lower pick rate and lower kill rates. So they're just gonna get really, really small buffs. Just to help them out, not make it to where they're so low. And then there's also survivor perks that are doing the same. I'm kind of surprised to see like botany knowledge in here. So I'm excited to see how much it'll change that. My guess is it'll just be a numbers buff for that. But all of these perks here, survivor and killer side are all going to get changed in the PTB. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll leave the link in the description so you guys can actually check out the forum for yourself and look at all the changes. Like I said, overall, it's a lot of small stuff. The going next is a major thing, which, they title it like that, but it's overall really nice and it'll be in just in time for Springtrap tomorrow. So yeah, see you guys later.